Hey folks, AJ the CEO here, and I'm here upstairs in the education wing, I guess, here at Antioch, the old part of the building, and kind of helping to remodel some of the stuff up here and add some tech and modernize up here. So for our conference, the E-Missionary Conference, which you can still register for, July 18th and 19th, there's going to be in person and online. So we've been doing a lot of upgrades here. We've boosted the internet here, got 1,000 up and 1,000 down now, so we can sustain multiple live streams at the same time. And we are retrofitting all of the classrooms with smart TVs and internet, Wi-Fi, and all this other stuff. And finished just putting a jack here so that if a teacher is sitting here at the table, they can plug in to get internet, hardwire connection, or if you have a video switcher, you got 2 connections here. And we have a HDMI that extends to the TV to somebody can plug in and do presentations. So I say all that to say that somebody asked me, AJ, we always see you do this, but you never explain it. So I'm going to try and explain that with y'all today to walk through this whole process. So this room we're not going to do. This is the first one that we did. And as you can see, we have the exact same thing over here. We did that one. So there's another classroom on that other side. And there's a classroom here. But I'm going to do this one just because this one is a little bit easier based off of the location of where everything is going to go. So the first thing we have to be mindful of is the type of wall. Since we're on the outside of the church here, this is brick, that's brick. I'm not trying to go through that. That's why we're going to do it on this side. This is where the TV is going to go. I don't have a TV yet, but this is where it's going to go. I want to stay away from the fire alarm, so I'm going to probably put it maybe right here to make it easier, and because I know on the other side is the TV that we just hung. So the first thing we have to do is, outside of, well, not the first thing, I already said the first thing. The second thing is we got to identify where our studs are. That way for our TV, I want to know where that is for our placement. So when we put a mount on there, but then also I need to find where the studs are so that we can pass our cables through the wall. So what we're going to be running is a fiber optic HDMI cable that goes to the TV. So we're going to run it over there. That is a drywall as well too, but that's going out in the hallway and we're not moving that board. We're going to run a coax cable so that the feed that's coming from the sanctuary from our Thor HD will send TV over here. If anybody was here or for the conference, they can tune in and see when keynotes are going to be going on, because that's what's going to be on here. We're also going to run a Ethernet cable here so that we can plug the TV in, even though the TV does have access to Wi-Fi. And with that, we're going to run all of that over to this side. So because we're going to find the studs on both sides of the wall so that we can run our cables through the wall. Now, real quick, if you're asking, if we go back here to the one I had just finished with the time lapse, I did conduit here because, as you can see, that's brick. We ain't going through that. It was just easier to do it that way. So that's what I want to try and avoid, having to do that. And there's another classroom here, but that's all brick, and we're probably not going to use that room at all. So we're going to get our trusty stud finder. Now, I do know that there are steel studs in here, not wood. And normally they are 16 inches apart, 16 typically, but then it could be 18 and 24. This one is a little bit different. So let's up. Now, this stud finder does look for electrical lines as well too. So there's a stud right here. So let me put you down for a second so I can mark that. All right, and we're trying to find another one. All right, and here's another one right here. All right, so that's good for our studs, even though that's not 16. That's a little bit more than that. So my regular TV mount won't work with this. So only 2 will be in the stud. The other ones will be in drywall with toggle bolts. Now, the next thing we need to do is see if there are any fire breaks or firewalls or whichever one you call it. And that's like a vertical beam here that will that stops fire from spreading up. Because we want to see if we can just drop our cables here, because if this is our mount and the stud is right here, either I want to run the cables on this side, in between, or on the other side. So for me, I'm actually going to do it on this side. Actually, I should do it on that side because that'll be closer to where I need the cables to run. So if we come into the stud here for our TV mount, we can put the box here. We want to avoid that. So now we're just going to vertically look. Do we have anything? We're going to go as high as possible. Nothing so far. Nothing, 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 nothing. So we're good to put this here. All right, so I have this little doodad for after cutting holes for low voltage boxes for so long. I found this and it just makes it so much easier because it has a level on both sides, so I can be level with what I'm doing. And let's come up just a little bit. And we're gonna mark our box right here. All right, so we got everything level here. So that's what we're going to punch through, and we're going to go across up above the ceiling for us to feed some cables. So we're going to do this two ways because the switch is in the other room close to right here. So that's the reason why I wanted to do it on this side. So let me get the ladder, let me get my hole saw, and then we're going to do the next steps. Alrighty, so we're going to line up right here. And I got to be careful because for the last couple of days I've been doing this, I've been getting stuff in my eye. And my eye is finally feeling better. Let me get far away from this insulation. All right, so we're going to be here. So we got a clean way over here. And honestly, I might not, well, we're going to have to drop down here anyway. So I could punch a hole in on the other side, but we're just going to open up a hole right here, bypassing the seal plate right here. And again, they have it marked here. So where our stud is. So we're right in line with what we did. All right, so we are going to have some insulation in here. So we got to avoid that. If you don't have a push rod, you can just use yourself a straight clothes hanger as long as it's long enough to get you here. So we're going to run cables from the other side. And actually, I'm going to punch through. I'm going to punch through on the other side because, again, we're above the ceiling so that I can pass my cables through this way and then drop right down. So now I'm going to make the hole for our low voltage box here. And I do like this because it puts it at the right size and I don't have to worry about messing up and having to keep trimming the wall over and over again because I had the wrong size trying to mark out the low voltage box. All right, so there we go. Got the hole there. Now, like I said, I'm gonna do this a little bit differently because I didn't do this with the other side. So I'm gonna run 3 Ethernet cables here. 2 of them are gonna come in here and go over to where the teacher is gonna be, just like the other one. We're gonna run a fiber optic HDMI cable over here, which will come in, plug to the woo, the dust. Which is also going to come to the TV. We're going to run a coax, like I said here. Now, what I didn't do with the other ones that I'm going to retrofit, and this side is actually going to be easy since my cable is on the other side for the other TV. We're going to run a cable also for the TV so that the TV is plugged into the network as well too. So let me bring my box of cables over and let's actually move this ladder over to the other side so that we can run all our cables and you can see the hole that we made. And I shouldn't have put the hole saw down. I feel like I'm going to need that. Well, actually, I know I'm going to need that. So I'm trying to save myself as much time as possible. We ran a lot of those cables yesterday, which I'm dreading, but we do have to run another one. So here's the TV. I really probably need to move that TV down a little bit, but I think it's fine for right now. So let me set you down here. And we are now going to find that hole that we just made. So we can pass all the cables through. And I'm nowhere close. It's actually back here. So I'm actually closer to the switch that I have inside this closet. So right, so there's our hole. Let's widen it just a little bit. Now, honestly, I can reach over and I really don't need to do a hole here, but I'm going to seal this up with fire retardant foam for all the holes because that's just the code of what they did here. So I want to make sure we repeat the same thing. So if somebody comes back behind me, they know. Also, I always make my holes bigger than I need because so many times when you do this, don't make a hole that's big enough just for your one cable because sooner or later, technology is going to change and you might need to replace something. So I'm doing about 1.5 inch hole to all of these. Even though I'm going to be running like 3 cables, I have more than enough room. So if anybody has to come back behind me, they don't have to make another hole or having the difficulty of widening the hole and not damaging the cables that are already going in there. All right, so I got myself a clear path, and I'm thankful I am way closer than I thought. So What we're going to do is going to pull one cable here, two cables here, no, excuse me, one cable here, Ethernet cables, and then two all the way in the front. When I come back, because the cables are not here, I need to run a video cable, coax cable right here. And then on the other side, when it comes in, I have to have the fiber optic HDMI cable go on the other side to the front. So we're just going to do the basics. It's going to be rinse and repeat for everything else. So let me get my cables. All right, I got this cable, and these runs should be pretty short. So what I typically like to do is run more cable than I need. And we're going to double this up. I'm just going to walk down around the room, and that would be more than enough cable that I need. So that's going to be one run that will go up to the front here. That should be more than enough. Then we're going to cut this line and then pull another cable with the exact same length as this one. So let me set you down so I can do that. So cut this one and then just pull the length of this until I reach the end of the other one. Keep them as tight as possible so that I know that the length is going to be relatively the same. I already know I'm going to have to cut some of this cable because it's not going to be that long of a run. But I'd rather have more cable and cut it short than to have the cable run short and then you got to start putting couplers and all this other stuff or re-pull everything all over again. All right, so these are the ones that are going to go up to the front of the classroom. And do this in a way so that the chair doesn't get caught up on your cables. All right, so I need to leave plenty so that I can get over here to this corner over here for the switch. And I wish my coax cables were in here because I hate having to pull and go in the same distance multiple times. So the idea is run more cables than you need because you're only thinking for right now. Down the road, like I said, something may change and you're like, oh man, I wish I had ran this type of cable or this last time I was here. Oh, let's see. All right, hopefully that's enough. And we got to get our cables over here. So that we can connect them all to our switch that's right behind here. All right, so here's our stuff. There's a hole right here that I made for this pass-through. So hopefully that should make this much easier. Like I said, I gotta pull 3 more cables this way, and honestly, I really should have pulled the cables for the other classroom at the same time, and then I wouldn't have to do this again. All right, so we got that there. And again, we're gonna have to do this again. And I have a server cable raceway that's coming here today as well too. So all these cables are gonna be nice and tidy in a raceway that's going all the way up here. So all the extra will push up in the ceiling in the service loop, and we're good to go. So I have more than enough to connect to the switch here, because as you can see, that's how they are going to go. And now we got to run 2 more cables, but again, one is going to go here, one is going to go there. So let's do that real quick. All right, so I got my cables over. I need to pull this off so I can fish this cable through, but let me show you that process, because that's what we're getting ready to do on the other side. And need to pick up a few things from here so we can do that. So we need our low voltage box. We need our plate for 4. I think I already got that over there. Need my crimp tool. One of our HDMI plates here as well too. And I'm gonna need to go back and get the ladder. So we got our cables here. These are the 2 that are gonna go all the way over there. So I'm gonna pull those, pop the tiles and walk them down this way. And this same path, instead of going down the hallway, what I'm gonna do in this classroom, the same thing, not today. Those cables are gonna be, the TV is gonna be there. And I have no idea where the desk is gonna be. So we'll put it here and we'll figure out, I might put the connections right there on that wall right there so that somebody can plug in. That'll probably be the easiest way. So if somebody's stationed here, hopefully nobody would be sitting there as a blind spot, or somebody can sit here, the table here. I got to figure out which one we're going to do. So I'm glad I'm not doing this one because I don't know which side that's going to be. That's the easier wall, obviously. I could put it there because it's an outlet. So I'm picking the walls mainly because of the material and how close it is to an outlet. So we got that as an option, that as an option. Definitely not going to do that because it's a window and it's brick. So we'll figure it out, either one of those. But like I said, we're going to run cables and I'm going to come this way and either go right in here or just run it straight down to the other side where the room is. All right, so what we need to do now is fish our cable down. So I got my cable right there. And see, we pulled more than enough. And let's see, can I pull this straight without needing a clothes hanger? Now, see, the insulation is getting in the way and it's making it bunch up this. So let's get a clothes hanger so we can do that. All right, so on my way to try and get myself a clothes hanger, found a dowel rod. This works the same way. We just need something that can punch through the insulation here, and that'll be more than enough. Let's move this ladder out of the way, and pretty much I'm just trying to get through the top up there so I can see. So I hit the top, so I'm there. So I don't know if you can see it. It's right there in that corner. See, it's right there in the back. Right there. So all I gotta do is get my cable, put some electrical tape on that, and then we'll be able to pull that down, or could do it in reverse, whichever way. Now, granted, a clothes hanger would make this easier, since that dowel is not very flexible. That's gonna make this a little difficult to reach over and get. I'll probably just widen up the hole here so I can actually stick my hand in there and reach that. Or better yet, let's just get a clothes hanger like I said I was gonna do at the beginning. Then I don't have to be all destructive. Alrighty, we got our clothes hanger. I have to walk all over the place to find one, but get that past the insulation. And insulation is giving me a little bit of a problem. Trying to hug it against the drywall so that it goes relatively straight up. There we go. So now, and you know what? I should have did this in reverse, because the hole is bigger down here. I can actually reach in and grab it in easier. And there it is. Keeps getting hung on this insulation here. All right, so right there. So there's our cable. Now I'm just gonna put some electrical tape on this side, or loop it here and pinch in on the end of this so that it won't come out easily. And along with all of our insulation, come on, there's our cable. So what I'm gonna do, because there's so much cable and I got some other stuff to run, I'm going to pull this extra end and cut this, and I'm gonna leave this as my pull string. So when I have to come back and do some other cables, I don't have to use the clothes hanger again. I'll just use this. This cable is already ran through, and that'll make it easier. We just gotta identify which one is which. All right, this is the side that's for my pull. So I'll put a knot at the end for us to identify that for our pull string. Push all the insulation back in. Like I said, we have to run a fiber optic HDMI cable in here and a RG6 for a coax cable in here. So we got that straight. So now we put our low voltage box on. Make sure our cables are out of the way. And because that template, everything can fit very nicely. And we don't have to trim off anymore. And there we go. Tighten this down, terminate everything, and that's it. So not a lot to it as long as you prepare. And like I said, the main things, I know I dragged this out a little bit too long. The main thing is to make sure that you have a clear path, that you're in between the studs. There's no electrical, nothing in here. And at least for me, have it close. Now, this is for Brandon. You asked about it, Brandon. So again, think about it from a standpoint, like every time, like when I was looking at classroom number 4, what we look over here is you want to have enough connections for everything. So for the conference standpoint, we'll have students in here. And it makes me sit back and think how the table is going to be set. So maybe the teacher could be right here in the corner. They're near an outlet. They're close to the boxes. They can still see what's on the TVs, but then the class could be faced like in a 45-degree angle or something like that. Or just got to be mindful of that. And then for me is we want to make it easy. Yes, these are all smart TVs. Yes, they can cast. You could do that over Wi-Fi, but I want to also have a hard connection as well too. So when somebody's here, somebody could plug in. And the issue with me wanting to put this on the network in here, my network is set up for guest and administration. I don't like putting the TV on guest, which makes it easier for people to cast to it, but they can cast whatever they want. There's no restriction compared to if the TVs are actually on the network, you have to be physically on the administrator Wi-Fi or plugged in to be able to connect to the TVs. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing that. So let me know if you have any other questions. Like this is the little stuff I do throughout the week and stuff like that. And sometimes I just don't record it because I didn't think it would be that interesting to y'all. But Brandon did ask about that because he's looking at doing some other stuff. So just giving him I guess as light of a video as possible of what I do with this. And I didn't realize that was room 6. I thought that was room 6. But anyway, that's about it. Let me finish this up, get up out of here before I start really sweating. And that's about it. Link is going to be down below to all the tools that I use and everything like that. And I think that's about it. So I'm not going to do my typical ending. Y'all know the procedures, the like, the bells, the subs, all that stuff. So y'all have a good one, folks. Later.